Thank you so much, gentlemen, as we've loaded on in. And this is match number 10 in total. We have 3 more to go today, and then we'll crown our FNCS Chapter 2 Season 4 European champions. They'll be walking away with the axe. You can already see decent amount of spread going on here. Some triangles over at Stark, so there's definitely going to be a contention going on, but otherwise there's a decent spread of teams. However, it feels like there's a couple more people also lurking on those out route kind of paths just outside of Stark, as we're going to swing on over with our match 9 winners, Hen, Deceptos, and Patrick.
And what a great performance from Hen, the clutch factor that he has, coming 15th place going into that match, getting the clutch victory royale as a solo, got them to 7th place. That is going to be huge, and that is thousands of dollars of pop-off game potential right then and there. And we've been talking about it the entire time. We've been asking, when is Hen and Deceptos Patrick going to pop off? They had so many great pop-offs in heats. They kind of surprised everyone by strong performance. I believe in one of their heats or qualifiers, they had like 3 victory royales. They look super strong going into the grand finals. And unfortunately, it took them a while to get their footing here. And finally, what a big way to get that foot through the door here. And having an opportunity to at least get into the top 3 now, considering that if they get another pop-off game, Sundown, it's possible that they could get it right up in there really easy.
Yes, so far, the story of day 2 has been the fact Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson opened up big, and then all of a sudden, everyone had enough. They're like, why are we so scared of them? They haven't had fights this whole time. Let's go see what's going on. As actually, we're going to swing way away from Stark here. Mongrel and Tayson out in the middle of nowhere. So this is something I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. Having a secondary drop spot, having somewhere to go when you are contested, whether it's a scavenger route or being able to go game plan somewhere else. It looks like a call was made. However, that call might come to bite them in the heel as Tayson gets picked up by himself. Mongrel forced to rift away without a shotgun, no excess heals, just a shockwave, attack SMG, an AR, and a prayer that he doesn't draw any attention, as him and Mitro are going to be forced out and into a really rough scavenger route.
This kind of reminds me of that Pikachu meme. It's like you post that you have the power of POI, and they're like, we have this uncontested, come and take it. And all of a sudden, when Trio starts showing up and contesting you, you got that Pikachu surprise play. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. I wasn't expecting this. You gotta expect this. It is kind of what happens in most FNCS competitive play. When someone builds a big lead, the only way to slow them down is to contest, and it's to fight. As you're seeing in the feed, the Dual Media and Co. picking up a knock on Benji. So that is another contestant spot that we're seeing, that we're watching here. But the story is, can Mongrel and Mitro survive this mental test? We all know mechanically in game they know how to rocket, they know how to slay, they know how to box fight. But a big important factor in FNCS competitive is their mental.
The mental is what matters so incredibly much, but we've seen before that as long as Mongrel is on his feet, he's going to be capable. However, they were forced to rift out, and you saw the shakedown come through as well, so there's going to be absolutely no opportunity to get Tayson back here. He's going to be forced into a backseat coaching role, and now, again, Mongrel is desperately looking for any form of shockwave before he gets caught into a fight, but Blaster Alpha and Nikov, the ones who got the elimination, are Tayson. They see red in their eyes. They see that first place. And if you're not ready to defend yourself, you're going to go down quick. Mongrel gets picked up. Shakedown onto him. It's the one time he's been bullied so far. The last 3 games feel like they're getting to him a little bit now, as Mitro shaken down, and he's going to be running away, trying to avoid going down here in 31st, but AR shots from both sides. Matzo, Amplify, and ADN on top of Ruins doing what they do best, looking for those AR tags, and it seems like 3 games in a row, Mitro, Mongrel, and Tayson, and you know what? He gave it up. He said, if I'm going down to the Train H boys over there in the Ruins. You took my other 2 teammates. We'll give 1 point over there, but that is tough. And again, hey, I'll say it one time. If you're in first place there, if you have the only spot with a vote, and then a team is able to win, or not win, but at least push into the top 3 twice in a row with double-digit eliminations, you better have a backup plan. All you need at this point from that top trio is one good game, and nobody else will be able to catch you. You need to keep a little bit of pressure. You cannot crumble in the final moments. And it seems like that might be that horror story from Season X, the MMB trio, where they dominated from wire to wire and then came up short in the final moments.
Oh, man, you just gave me goosebumps, man. It's like you're telling a spooky tale. We're all sitting around a campfire, and you're like, let me tell you the tale of what went down in Season X. So it just shows you that the outer POI teams are very strong teams. It's a very dense talent pool out there, and you kind of test those waters out there. And I think at this point, Mongrel, Mitro, and Taste, you talked about having a secondary backup plan. I think they still have to give it a chance. They have a couple of games to deal with. We've already seen Mitro, we've seen Yanis, Xweez, and Andalex. Kenzel, Wolfies, and CRR are the ones that are in striking distance. A new member now is Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD. Haven't really capitalized them not being around, so maybe why not take a dip into that, take a stab back into it, and stake your claim back in the Shark industry.
It's possible to be able to do it. They've won that fight a number of times. It's very practiced. The issue is when there's more than just one trio there, it turns into a clown fiesta. You can cue the circus music that everyone loves in the Fortnite community because it is quite literally people trying to 50-50 guaranteed chess, desperately trying to get a vault key, maybe get the vault key and then dip for a second for an opportunity to come back in, deny the people those resources, and then get the late rotation as the storm has come through. We've seen people do that before, but now, with 3 matches on the table, Mongrel, Mitro, Tayson, off. Andalex Jen is currently in second. They both came from behind to get their wins in the FNCS Duos in the Invitational. They've read this book before. The question is, can they write a sequel, and will it be that bestseller? Because coming into the match, they are the ones in striking distance. There's a number of other teams who are about 70-plus points out who could potentially do it. This team, 40 points out. That's a solid victory royale to then be nose-to-nose with that top trio again. And if anybody is capable of doing it, it's Jonas, Duck on top, aka Xweez, and Andalex.
You're taking a look here as well in 5th spot. Flois and Dreda and Louis, they're another trio that have been having a very quiet day. And Dreda is one of the top slayers in the region and in the grand finals, doing really well, picking up double-digit elims so far. So that is another trio that we haven't seen a lot on the desk here on the broadcast, but no doubt they are actually making waves and baby steps their way up the leaderboard. Wolfie, CRR, Kenzel, we saw in the previous match that it was essentially up to Kenzel to kind of hold on as long as possible, and then he got taken out quickly on a rotation. So maybe that mental check, you see that trio that I mentioned, Flois picking up some elims there in the feed. That team is still around. Listen, it was looking like the Mongrel Mitro Tayson show. It looked like we were just all watching Mongrel stream from a secondary POV, but not so fast. The EU region has stepped up. They've taken the challenge. They hit the Giant in the jaw. Question is, does the Giant have enough time to get back up? And if the Giant does, I think one big game from Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson will put it all out of reach.
And the key thing is right now is, yes, while the entire leaderboard is squeezing up to them, we talked about it before. The fact that they opened up such a monstrous lead, they still have 3 victory royales. They're still, I think, in terms of even with those absolutely horrendous placements right there. And missed chug
Oh my
splash.
goodness.
Speak of absolutely horrendous there. And again, sorry, don't mean to continue the train, but saw in the Elam feed, Hen actually ended up getting a knock on Janice.
Here we
so
go.
absolutely horrendous is turning into horrific. As we said, while they built up such a huge lead, the top teams, the top 3, and the one team who mattered, the French trio coming out of Sweaty Sands, hasn't been able to capitalize on that opportunity. They've stumbled. So that Hare, despite him dawdling, despite him going and grabbing some tea and maybe stopping over to help a neighbor with a fence or something, they're unable to close that gap right now, and again getting a little bit of harassment put onto them.
Taking a look here, the record for day 2 points in all regions was set, then matched in the last 2 games. It's just showing you when push comes to shove, when you only have a very limited opportunities, people would just play out of their minds, play out of their bodies, have what are you looking at? An extraterrestrial type performance, out of this world performance, and that is what we're watching unfold right in front of us in Hen and Deceptos and Patrick. Hen, he's one of those players that could heat up and microwave himself, and I think that confidence, those two major performances, and especially that clutch that Hen had in the previous, getting that Victory Royale, could be the thing that kind of catapults him, and that is another dangerous up-and-coming trio that is knocking on the front door, that top 5.
And Deceptos has been around forever as well, somebody who is very, very, very consistent, the player for Gamers Origin. And Patrick, as of late, has had some very incredible results as well for the solos. So it's been largely them getting their chemistry, but I'm going to put myself a little bit on blast here. They were my prediction during the Week 2 qualifier, but kind of when we talk about them, like with the analysts, I always call them a bargain Thomas HD trio. They have the same kind of clutch potential in the clutch duo between Hen and Deceptos. That's my analog for Thomas and Anas on their side. They're still a Become Legends player on either opportunity there, and they have some of the big moments and some of the huge solo results, but not quite necessarily there in the team modes. And there seems like right now they're pushing that level up a little bit more, but their issue has never been their ceiling, it's been their floor. You have to bring that skill floor and your placement floor up if you want to be able to contend seriously for a top 3. And while kind of right now, that amazing performance of last game is pushing them up into contention, they need to ride the momentum, which is something we've seen they're capable of doing.
Seeing in the feed that the trios, Floki, Clement, and Nakos, are having their momentum slowed down a bit, considering that they were in the top 3 and they're sliding down to 8. There's people moving up, and now we have trios moving down as Flois as well. That is our top 5. I already saw Indreda getting confirmed in the feed, so we've gotten some multiple volatile action happening in the top 10, and it's not over yet until the final bell has been rung, and we're still, this is game, essentially the last of the 3 here. We still have 2 more going in. This is the last moments, the last frames, and Cami, Raxo, and Altor are doing really well. They got a Victory Royale here today, and that's going to be a strong opportunity to at least stop the slide for the moment, because Hen and Anas and Thomas HD, that they just came out of nowhere, man. They just out of nowhere just heated up, and wow, man, that was just a crazy ride those past 2 games to see these trios that we've been hyping up the entire heats kind of perform here in grand finals to make us feel like, hey, at least we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and another trio who I ended up predicting and has been unable to take advantage of the opportunity so far today with only 35 points here is Floki, Clement, and Nakos. And I'm actually a little confused because I saw one of them get knocked and I thought confirmed early, but guess not coming through there. Is Clement going to pick up another Elam on his side? This is something we see this trio do very often. They are not afraid to fight wall-to-wall and box-to-box in the mid-game situation. They do so more often than any other trio in the region, and they're able to convert on that there, finding 2 eliminations in what feels like getting a footing in the game for the first time in a while.
And we are going to get a scary in-game again. We saw a scary one up in the northwest area, all aquatic, but now we have a mountainous terrain, Old Man Mountain. There's 2 of them, a crazy valley to go through with the river, and at the same time, a bridge that cannot be broken. That's going to be interesting to see how the in-game leaders navigate this treacherous in-game.
And we talk about the tale of Old Man Mountain. For those of you unfamiliar with competitive Fortnite, when you get into those endgame zones, the safe zones move completely outside of where the current one. It's called the moving circles, and it happens between zones 6 and 9. But the tale as old as time is Old Man Mountain will always claim his toll, and the change in verticality forces players to either burn utility, build up quickly, or just fall. And I reclaim always go back to the epic Mr. Savage Shadow Bomb clip that qualified him for the World Cup as the epitome of Old Man Mountain taking it. But right now, we're just going to see who's able to get some space as yet again, we talk about it, our second place trio unable to capitalize on the opportunity that is given, handed to them, literally handed to them on a golden platter, but they're not finding the placements and eliminations to make up for the fact that Mitra and Mongrel are getting stonewalled right now.
I can tell you who's taking advantage, though. That's Hen, Deceptos, and Patrick. Hen getting on the left side of that Elam feed on Wolfies. So we'll see if Kenzel, Wolfies, and CRR, if they are in shambles. Right now, Andalex and Xweez are in shambles. It's just a matter of look at it. Yeah, I mean, the builds are not there, and you were taking a look at the zone. It's going to be all between all that terrain. It's going to have a river in it. There's going to be multiple layers to navigate. It's just not looking good. They're going to desperately need looking for a refresh. Sundown.
This is one of the worst areas in the entire game for players to have these moving zones. The rapid change in verticality and how quickly every single direction, if you're looking down there, you can see the river on either side. That's a mountain, but it's a steep drop off no matter which way you go. So there's going to be no reprieve regardless of which direction those moving zones pull. And the half in, half out reveal, that's zone number 5, is going to play a big factor in determining who is able to dictate the pace of the end game. As you can see there, despite the knock coming through on Hen, that was another snipe. We've seen him putting in work with that weapon as well. So we kind of talk about the quote-unquote bargain Thomas HD. He says, hey, I could do it with a sniper as well. We saw him converting on Janice earlier. The knock on the Wolfie's not getting ticked over, but we get a lay of the land, and we kind of get an idea of where that 4th zone is going to be as everyone is pulling towards the mountain there on that east side.
And I'm going to tell you what my wife told me. Off-brand is just as good as the big brand, and the off-brand is rocking it at the moment, solidifying themselves with an opportunity to kind of sneak on away in a top 5 finish. And we are watching this action unfold as Florix gets taken down by Analyx. The number 2 trio doing their best as they do to hold on, and that could be that refresh, that frag that they need to desperately. If they can find any kind of mobility just beyond this crash pad, they're looking good. Taking a look at their builds, not looking solid right now, but they're going to kind of hold on tight together. And there's the rest of that trio down below. They're kind of squeezed in between the two as Florix does get picked up. So they're not going to be able to take advantage or find any of that reprieval loot that they were looking for there, Sundown.
Which is really, really what they feel like they need. You can tell, oh no, did they just lose the shockwave? They left the shockwave on top of the cone and through the wall replace. Wow. It fell. That's disastrous. That is awful game management right there from Xweez. And we talk about in the moments when you have to do everything right, losing your one utility, your one vertical and horizontal utility tool in such a tremendous moving zone area with huge changes in verticality is going to end up spelling potential disaster for them. However, the disaster going to be averted for now as the 5th zone lands smack on top of their head, and it's going to come down to whether or not they can win this fight against the team that spitefully stole that shockwave away.
They have 6 splashes. They have peppermints to kind of make a crazy rotation. This is our 2nd place team who have yet to capitalize on Mongrel sitting in 1st place. They're getting a nice tag there. Yes, the Swedes go ahead and confirm that, so it's going to slowly, surely there. Look how close. Look at this right-hand peak. Look at it. They're just holding on for dear life, and another knock. Wow, Norwood. So that's big. That's huge. They were in shambles, and that might be all that they needed, Sundown.
I didn't see him able to get a shockwave, but he is able to snag away a shotgun upgrade there. You can see Clement and Co. all the way down on the low ground. Utter shambles in terms of HP, but they got the elims that they're so well known for. The question is, 6 elims, plenty of excess utility, but can they make this rotation up the side of the mountain? There's the Gorgeous Gorge bridge they're trying to make up now. Floki will get the conversion onto Jaspe a little late to get some bonus siphon onto him. Good job coning their head in, but they're coming in the absolute low ground, which is such a risky area. This is a trio, again, we talked about it. They've been banking on consistency points, but running into a tough time. Now building with hard mats. 18 trios remaining. One more will go down, and the placement points will start. And the 2nd versus the 4th team on the walls of each other right now, and Andalex is going to hastily retreat, saying, not now, not outside of placement points. Be safe.
We took a look at 4th place, and now it's on 3rd place right here. Kenzel again for the 2nd game back-to-back, riding solo dolo. He has some shockwaves if he gets into some dangerous situations, has some decent amount of builds, but it is the lack of power weapons that's going to hurt Kenzel. No doubt Kenzel is going to do his best to kind of emulate his DreamHack championship. The back-to-back champion now is back-to-back solo. He does get priority of zone, but I just don't think he's going to have the ability to hold on as much as possible. A trio could easily overcome them. Yes, you got one player, but with that blue power pump, it's not going to be enough at all. You're going to get traded out so easily. So, but hey, Kenzel, All you gotta do is stay alive. Just get to placements and you'll be able to get closer and closer and get away from Flickanos and Thomas HG, who are right behind you.
And he was trying to bait somebody dropping down into that box, knowing he had priority position on the zone. But it's gotta feel bad if you're CR and Wolfies. That's 2 games in a row. They pulled that priority there in that first moving zone, but everyone has been down and they're not able to capitalize. It would have been a great opportunity to climb up the board, but the story so far has been the inability to get the key points you need. Gets a pick there, but that's only one more, as still 18 trios are on their feet. We're gonna wait for the replay to catch up here in a second as Kinzo gets dropped all the way down, but let's take a look at height and an unfamiliar name up there for the first time as Skype, Yaxu, and Falconly are going to force Anos, Flick, and Thomas HD down. We're going to go down all the way to the water to Kinzo, doing his best Dolphin impression right now, trying to find some shots on the side as placement points begin to tick over. 16 trios remain. Nikov getting a knock onto Robabs there. Kinzo eats a huge shot with his teeth there, 35 HP. Will he result to the shockwave? Will he use it and position himself correctly? You hear the chug splashes go out on the wall, out of dodge, and gets smacked right away.
Unbelievable. As Sweeze is still alive, though, as Sweeze has an opportunity just to get a little bit of points, but it's going to really hurt because, look, he's at the very bottom, and he has to go up this elevation, and the trade hard trio of Falconry, Yasuo, and Skype are looking to have the opportunity now to add some points to their leaderboard and be able to get up more. These are thousands and thousands of dollars victory royale here that's up for grabs. Now let's take a look here at some other trios. Now we got Nikov, all with his trio of mates, looking very strong, but the story here is Andalex and X-Sweeze, who are still in this. Look at them in shambles on the low ground as Nikal picks up an Elim. That trio is fighting at full force. And now, look at your left side here. The storm is going up and up Old Man Mountain.
Old Man Mountain claiming his toll, first in utility, then in builds, then in your tournament, potentially. Ending right there. You can see still 2 games after this, but a huge pickoff from Nikov in the storm. This is what we talked about. You got to get the pickups, and then you got to find a way around the mountain. The bandage cannon will bide him some time, but right now, Duck on top goes down, and if you have to capitalize, if you're Andalex, and into the box of Deceptos he goes, gets a much-needed siphon, has some minis as well, but needs some space. Plenty of builds in a second pickup right away there by Andalex. That was massive, and Nikov finds some room as well. The individual plays continuing here, Sancho.
Hen picks up an Elim as well. Now it's about solo stars on the top and right of your screen. Nikov and Analix doing all they can to back their trio through. On your left side, you're seeing Train Hard trio is being contested by Nakos for the brief moment here. That is going to be something to watch. And look at the very bottom of that left side. It is Become Legends Hen with another clutch performance as Altor and Raxo go for height against Train Hard. And there it is, a nice opportunity to hold on to. But the story is our second place team on your bottom right, Andalex, doing all that he can to hold on and trying to close the gap. Nikov had a great performance, but look at this build up on height. Oh my goodness. And down below it's Matzo and ADN, and they have an opportunity, and all they have to do is chop this down. And Raxo, oh my goodness, that was scary.
He was able to hit the bouncer to give himself some of the fall damage immunity, now ignoring Skype all the way up on the high ground as Kami is still up there, and he's going to be able to take it. And it looks like Gamma Gaming, Kami, and Roxo looking for victory number 2 on the day here as they have a 2v2 against the low ground duo right now. And you can see them trying to get the mats in the correct spot. Roscoe is the one who's going to stay up on the high ground. No, as I say that, he drops the flopper, which indicates he's going to go down. Kami's going to stay up. Nope, they swap it again as Roscoe is the one with the HP lead. So Kami's going to go hunting. Roscoe's going to play for the heal off, hoping that he can get an angle. He has small fries found there as well. So ADN and Matzo are going to try to
fall off. Kami!
Excuse me, Kami, you okay there? But he's going to be more than fine knowing that Roscoe is going to pop a flop in the zone. As long as there's no bandage cannon in play, he'll be the one to walk away with the victory. And as Matzo ticks over to the 9th zone there, Roscoe, Artur, and Gamma Kami pick up their second victory royale.
With 9 limbs, and it comes on down to the smallest of fries. 2 games left. Let's get a breakdown and a leaderboard check from the analyst desk. Zeke.